Welcome back, everybody, to the Teen Titans retrospective season 1 finale. Let's get into it. I don't know how to do intros good. This is season 1, episode 12 and 13, Apprentice, parts 1 and 2. Part 1 was written by Rob Hoagie and directed by Michael Chang, and part 2 was written by David Slack and directed by Ciro Nieli. We're just going to talk about these both in one video because it's one overarching story, even though these did originally air week to week. This is a two-part season 1 finale and the conclusion to the Slade arc, at least for now. The first part opens with what turns out to be a dream sequence of Robin having a fight with Slade. This location is very reminiscent of the Avatar finale, Ozai versus Aang fight. Just a bunch of rock pillars going on. Robin's trying to fight Slade and he ends up destroying all these pillars. Then, ooh, spooky, the pillars were representations of the other Titans. Woo! And then Robin takes the mask off of Slade, and oh no, it's Robin underneath! What? Oh my god. Somebody just watched Empire Strikes Back. Then the episode begins proper and we get into the real conflict with Slade. Slade actually ends up calling the Titans on their, like, Star Trek communicator. What do you call that? When someone calls them and they're like, put it up on the screen.
Set it on Screensaver 2.
I'm a fake nerd. I haven't watched that much Star Trek. Okay, so Slade is like, you're taking too long to figure out what my big plan is, so I'm just going to reveal it. I've acquired a chronotonic generator, something along those lines.
I'm sure you're all familiar with the concept of a chronoton detonator.
And what this is a device that uses chronotons that will freeze a certain area in time permanently. He's going to use it on the city. It's somewhere in the city. The Titans have to find it and stop it. So the Titans head out. They're able to track Slade to this, like, warehouse on the docks where they have a fight with all these Slade bots. And Robin is going, like, so hard in this episode. He's taking this conflict with Slade, like, super personally, and, like, the obsession that we saw in Masks, like, continues forward in this episode. Robin is getting, like, way too into defeating Slade, and he's, like, super aggressive. He goes, like, way too hard defeating all these guys, faster than the rest of the Titans can take them out. And they're like, dude, chill. Anyways, they continue on the trail to this chronoton thing. They end up in the sewers. They get attacked by Cinderblock. Robin is like, you guys go ahead and stop this device. I'll take care of Cinderblock. Robin fights Cinderblock one-on-one and, like, holds his own very well. We get a lot of Robin being, like, very badass in this episode, and I kind of dig it. It's also cool because it's like he's being, like, more aggressive and more angry and stuff. We start to see him kind of become a little bit more like Slade in order to try to defeat him. The rest of the Titans eventually catch up to this chronoton device, and Cyborg begins disarming it. Meanwhile, Robin is able to track Slade back to his gear lair.
Metal Gear.
And they have a fight. Slade's lair in this sequence seems to have, like, even more gears than the previous times we've seen it, somehow. And this is where we find out the true nature of Slade's overarching plan, what his whole goal was all along, which is not really to destroy the city. He doesn't actually really care about that. Instead, that device was just to lure the other Titans away from Robin, and he blasts them all with this laser gun looking thing, which injects them with nanites, like nano robots, which, like, latch onto their blood cells or something. And he's using this against Robin. He's to threaten him, basically saying, I can kill your friends anytime. What I want is for you to work for me. I want you to become my apprentice. And this is where the first part ends. Robin reluctantly agrees to work for Slade under the threat of his friends being killed. He dons this new, like, Slade-themed Robin outfit, which I don't think looks as cool as his Red X outfit, his, like, other Dark Robin-themed outfit, but I think it still works thematically for what they're going for here. Part 2 opens and Robin has a fight against the Teen Titans. He's stealing a little laser gun thing. The Titans are confused about why Robin is fighting them and why he's dressed in a Slade-themed outfit. Slade and Robin are now working together. Slade is trying to train him as his apprentice. We get some classic villain hero dialogue. You and I are not so different, you and I. All that kind of stuff. Robin's going on about how sooner or later I'm going to figure out how to deactivate the nanites or steal the remote control away from you or whatever. As soon as my friends are out of danger, I'm going to get my revenge and destroy you, basically. And Slade's like, ooh, you're plotting a betrayal, I see. You and I are not so different, you and I. Slade's going on about how, I know you don't like this now, but sooner or later you'll come around and you'll be on board with being my apprentice. Maybe you'll even consider me like a father, to which Robin replies,
I already have a father.
Not very subtle reference to Batman, but I like this moment a lot. Although they don't really go into Robin's origins very much in this show. If you've heard of Robin, you probably know that he is an orphan kid raised by Bruce Wayne, Batman. And while they're like partners and crime fighters or whatever, Robin is Bruce Wayne's adoptive son. And it's just kind of cool to see Robin call Batman his father, because that's the relationship, even if they don't always like say those words out loud. It's also like extremely reminiscent of the scene in the first Spider-Man. I had a father, his name was Uncle Ben. I know that's not the line, but it's that moment, and I like it a lot. I think it works, even if it is a bit cheesy. Robin gets sent out on another mission to steal some stuff for Slade. The Teen Titans intercept, and they have a fight on this rooftop of a Wayne Enterprises building. They kind of keep this sort of subtle, not showing the big Wayne logo in a single frame until they do at the end of the sequence, but we only get like glimpses of it, of like we'll see a W or we'll see the Y or we'll see like a couple letters. And if you're like a little kid who can't read very good, you might not pick up on this right away, that it's a Wayne Enterprises building that Robin is stealing from. But as an adult, it's like they literally spell it out for you. As a kid, I didn't notice this the first time I saw this episode. Again, another reference to Batman. We're getting multiple Batman references in this one episode. So why does Slade want Robin to steal from Wayne Enterprises? Is he specifically trying to get him to like act against his previous father? I don't think so. I think this is a coincidence. I don't think Slade knows who Robin is, or that Bruce Wayne is Batman. In fact, I don't think Slade even has a plan for the different things that he's getting Robin to steal. I think he just wants Robin to be his like weird, creepy adoptive son, and for him to just continually do crimes with him and like fight the Titans and stuff. Until eventually Robin like accepts that this is his life now. I don't think that Slade has a larger goal outside of that. But I really like the thematic idea of Robin stealing from Wayne Enterprises. It again is intentionally drawing a parallel to Batman, his true father, and Slade, who is trying to be his like replacement father. Once again, we're touching on the idea that Slade is kind of an evil Batman, and so for Robin to be acting both against the side of good that Batman is on and to be indirectly acting against Bruce Wayne as well is really thematically interesting to me. Back at the gear layer,
Metal Gear.
Robin eventually is like, I'm sick of this, so I'm gonna fight you. He has a fight with Slade. The Titans eventually figure out that they have been exposed to these like nanites, and I guess they're able to like reverse engineer them or something to track down where Slade's gear layer is. They show up, they try to help Robin fight Slade. Slade activates these nanite things and they start glowing all orange and dying. It's not like specifically explained how these things are killing them, but that seems to be what's happening. Robin then exposes himself to this like nanite device, causing him to get the nanites in his blood as well, and now he's also being killed by these microscopic robot things. Firmly allying himself with his teammates, standing up to Slade and playing against his own rules in his own game. Slade deactivates the nanites, and Robin is able to defeat Slade with the help of the Titans. During this final fight, Slade's mask gets broken very briefly, and we don't see who's underneath, but we do see that it is a guy. He's all in shadow, but we can kind of see that he has hair and some type of real face underneath, which is different from the previous time that Robin faced Slade when he turned out to be a robot. This is the real guy. He gets away, and we won't see him again until the next season. But Cyborg's able to figure out how to get rid of the nanites, so that threat is saved. So we got a lot of cool thematic stuff in this episode. Robin is becoming more and more obsessed with defeating Slade, and in doing so, he's becoming more and more like him. Multiple points in the episode, Starfire, who's the matriarch mother of the group, kind of, and really the heart of the team, points this out to Robin multiple times. Hey, I'm worried about you. I think you're taking this too personally and going too far with your obsession of defeating Slade. This concept of Robin becoming more Slade gets literalized when he dons this Slade-like outfit, becoming his apprentice, although reluctantly and against his own free will, more or less. It's a clever plan from Slade as well to achieve this, because if he just injected Robin with these nanites or whatever, he's I'll kill you if you don't fight your friends, Robin would just let him kill him. He cares about his friends that much. But putting the rest of the Titans in immediate threat of death absolutely causes Robin to hesitate and to work against his morals. But of course this backfires really beautifully when Robin is willing to die with his friends if that means stopping Slade. And he also is able to call Slade's bluff too, because it turns out Slade doesn't want to kill Robin. Even though he would be willing to kill the other Titans, he stops from killing Robin. Even though Slade is super fucked up and evil, he doesn't want to see Robin die. This could be the same reason that he saved Robin on the roof back in the episode Masks. And of course, part of this is all that Slade ultimately wants some type of apprentice or surrogate son to train and be evil with him. And if Robin dies, then he can't do that. But I think there's something really kind of cool there. And again, we have some parallels with Batman. Batman is Robin's true surrogate father, and Slade wants to be his evil surrogate father. So Slade again parallels Batman very well, works really well as a thematic villain for Robin. This also ties into a larger theme of the show that will become more clear as we go into later seasons that focus on some of the other characters. That Titans has this sort of theme of teenagers rebelling against their parents. Now, obviously, Slade isn't Robin's real father in any way, but he wants to be, and he also wants to be in a super fucked up way where he's wants to be abusive and kill his friends and stuff. He's a bad guy, but at the same time, he thinks that he wants to be a father figure to this kid, who, remember, is a child. Somewhere in his fucked up mind, Slade thinks this is an okay thing to do to a kid. Robin, of course, ultimately rejects this philosophy and rejects this guy who, wants to be his father figure, but obviously isn't, and allies himself with the Titans, his true family. Cool ideas I like so much. It's kind of a lot of different things going on at the same time thematically. We have the parallel to Batman, obviously an evil father figure versus the good father figure. We have teenagers trying to come into their own. Robin has moved away from Batman. He's operating in his own city. He's the leader of a team. He's not just a sidekick anymore. He's not just support anymore. He's the one leading the show. He's the one in charge. And yet he's still dealing with these adults in his life that think they can tell him what to do. And these ideas are done in a way that appeals to multiple different demographics in slightly different ways. As a kid watching this, it feels sort of like a very subtle kids rule and adults drool, almost like Jimmy Neutron or a Codename Kids Next Door type of vibe, where, hey, what if the kids got to have fun and be cool all on their own without any adults telling them what to do. As a teenager watching this, it's super relatable of hey, I want to be my own person. I want to figure out who I am, and I don't want to listen to authority figures or my parents and stuff like that. And then as an adult, you sort of realize a little more how dark some of this stuff is thematically. Robin, an orphan kid who was raised by this crazy billionaire vigilante, at some point that we don't really see in this series, rejected that kind of toxic, potentially abusive father and moved out to be on his own. As a teenager, he's not an adult. That's the whole premise of the show. But he'd rather live on his own than be with that crazy billionaire who makes him fight crime. But also he's still fighting crime because that's like all he knows. And now he's getting involved in an even worse crazy guy who wants to be his like father, but it's like more fucked up. He's like specifically threatening the lives of children to try to achieve this goal. It's like really dark and creepy when you like delve deep and get into what's going on like thematically. And yet Robin is still able to reject this guy as well and firmly ally himself with this other group of teens, this found family of his friends. And friendship wins the day. And yes, it's kind of that, but it's like there's a lot more there as well. I really, really like this episode. Even though it's like a lot of mostly fighting, this episode is very heavy on the action, which is kind of cool in a lot of parts. The action is like pretty cool and entertaining throughout. We also get to see Robin like fully unhinged and like not holding back in this episode. Again, he's able to hold his own against the Titans like fairly well. Yes, they're holding back a little bit, but so is he. I also, once again, really like the gear aesthetic of Slade's evil lair.
Metal Gear.
This fits in more into the first part a little bit, but it does kind of fit in with the second part as well. Thematically, it fits really nice with this concept of Slade has this chrono device that's going to freeze time or whatever, and we go to his base and it feels like it's all made of clockwork and like very intricate gears that all seem to have some type of very specific purpose. Everything is like very intricate and very sophisticated, and it's like thematically fits with him like trying to control time. They're fighting against the clock, those kinds of ideas. I like that a lot. And it also works even more when you realize that that wasn't even his main plan. His true plan was to recruit Robin and manipulate him into working for him. So again, it's like this very intricately crafted thing that has a very specific purpose, like elaborate clockwork or an elaborate mechanism. I like it. It's cool. But yeah, I like this episode a lot. I think it's pretty good. I say check it out. I think that's going to bring this episode to a close. I've probably talked for far too long, but there's a lot of cool thematic things that I like in this episode. It's a good one. And yet, this isn't even the best arc in the show. It's up there. There's plenty more to come that's just as thematically rich and interesting. But that brings us a close to season 1 of Titans. We got 4 more seasons to go and some other various stuff that I want to talk about. What did you think? What is your favorite episode of the season 1 of Titans so far? Probably going to take a slight intermission before we get into season 2 because I have some other stuff I want to get into. But we will be back next week with something. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please subscribe. Hit the bell to get notifications. Find out when I upload new videos. We're going through every single episode of Teen Titans, the original series, week by week, episode by episode. This is season 1 in the bag, but we got 4 more seasons to go, so stick around. There's a lot more to talk about. But I think that's it, and thank you for watching. And we'll see you next time with something. Bye-bye.
Metal Gear.